You ever wonder what makes a great gamer? Great gaming is not only about cheering on our teammates, but also being there to pick us up when we're down.
Guardian down!
We're a Destiny 2 podcast that focuses on three things: community, news around the gaming industry and Destiny 2, and thought-provoking topics in the game. We're Guardian Down Cast. Your stories, your community, your destiny. What's up, Guardian? Welcome to episode 262 of Guardian Downcast, a Destiny podcast. Hey, I'm your host, Todd the Gator, and I'm a Day One Guardian who loves gaming and especially the Destiny franchise. And we talk about it. This week, it's our first Roundtable episode since the final shape was released. For those of you who may be new to the podcast, once a month I try to produce a Roundtable episode whereby members of our community bring a topic, story, article, or heck, just a point of view to the table, quote unquote. They introduce their topic and they give their opinions and takes on it. But then we go around the table and everyone else chimes in and adds to the topic of the conversation. I'm really excited about today's topics, and we have three to talk about today. But first, introductions are in order. All right, the first member of our roundtable today was just on our Guardian Downcast, episode 260, where we heard about him and his Destiny journey. He just happened to be on our half-decade show. I apologize for that 50-minute montage, by the way, but I wanted to make sure everyone was included in those sound bites. I really had fun making that. And yeah, my wife probably was cutting some onions too, I think, that day. So, it was really fun to put together. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, 5-year celebration. Half a decade. That's just crazy. But he's been a member of our community for over 10 months now. He's a gamer dad that, abandoned the PlayStation life for that Xbox world. Now shares the same profession as I do, protecting our clients' health and property by reducing the insect populations in our homes and landscapes. It's the exterminator from North Carolina. Hey, everyone. It's Z0mb1eP0ps. How's it going, brother?
Good. How about yourself?
Good, man. I'm glad you're back on the show tonight. It worked out perfectly when you came on the show a couple of weeks ago because we could get our mics and everything together, get everything going. And then now people know about you already. So if you did miss that episode, it's episode 260, half decade of Destiny podcasting. So our second member of the roundtable tonight has been a community member for over 3 years now. And he was once a Texan, but now is back in Kentucky and plans on returning to the seminary and the clergy. He's a newly married man, and he did share some of his wedding photos in our Discord community, which were awesome, by the way. He's one of our community Sherpas and is always down to help someone out in whatever activity, when he has the time, of course. He's one of our most generous and helpful members of our community, and he's helped me a time or two through some tough GMs, not to mention side-by-side fighting Guardians in the Crucible. If you would like to go back and hear his story, it's episode 134, The Silent Warrior. Welcome, my friend, Soccer, or iSoccerogi. How you doing, bud? I'm
good, man. Good to be here.
Dude, I'm so happy you're here tonight, man. I know you're kind of the quiet one. You don't like to talk too much on the shows and stuff, but I finally got a topic that got you to the damn round table. So thanks for coming on tonight, man.
Yeah, man, I'm excited.
Well, our third and final member of the roundtable hails from the Virginia, D.C. area. He's been a member also for over 3 years, and he's a facility engineer for a semiconductor company and works around those PC parts we're always trying to upgrade every few years in our PCs. I remember his team winning one of Elmer Fudd's Destiny raid races, and his movement skills as a warlock were impressive, and it really opened my eyes to better movement as a fellow warlock. He was on episode 173. If you want to go back and hear more about him, he also shares a topic with Soccer tonight, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation. So welcome back, Technickal. How you doing, man?
Hey, thanks for having me. Glad to be here. You know, there's a couple fact checks in there to change up, but you hit it for the most part. Okay. Moved down to North Carolina. Similar role, similar job, just with a different company now. More focused on EV, electric vehicle, powertrain stuff.
Another North Carolina member. How many does that make it now? I've lost count.
300, I think.
I don't have enough toes and fingers to count that. Sorry. Well, hey, man, thanks for coming on the show. It's going to be a fun conversation, and I can't wait. All right. Well, before we get into the topics of the week, let's go around the table real quick and just see what everyone's been up to this week in Destiny or in life. Technical, well, I got you here. Let's start with you, man. What have you been up to this week?
Sure. So, this week ran through whatever the new story was. My wife and I tend to do that every Tuesday. That's sort of our 2 hours after work. We sit down and we get through that. It's a little bit of, some bonding time while we work our way through whatever they're having us do. But beyond that, Destiny has been pretty light this week. I have started playing Battlefield 2042, to my regret, sort of. It's a fun game. It's really late in the game to be starting. I've never played it before, so, I'm outclassed and outgunned.
Hey, it could be worse. You could have made a podcast about it. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't go that far. Yeah. Not yet, at least.
I've been seeing you playing, man. How are you liking it? Are you enjoying the game? Is it gotten better? Yeah. Is it gotten better? Or is it glitchy still, or is the netcode better? Or?
I played during the beta, but I never bought the game. Right. And I have Game Pass, and I obviously, sometimes get bored of Destiny and want to try something else to sort of fill the time. And, it was just a game that seemed like a good idea, kind of mindless, jump in for an hour or so, not really a big commitment. It's fun. It doesn't seem too laggy, too many issues, but, it's Battlefield. I never really played them, so it's all new mechanics to me.
Oh man, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, you would just lose yourself playing like hour-long battles. I mean, I have so many good memories from that game. 2042 just really hit me the wrong way. So I don't know, man. Fingers crossed that they come out with something later. There's been rumors, but who knows? Who knows really what DICE is? I don't know if DICE is even in charge anymore, but used to be a fantastic studio. But anyway, well, hey man, thanks again for coming on the show tonight. Let me go to you, Z0mb1eP0ps. What are you doing this week in Destiny or in life, man?
Yeah, I caught up on the story in Destiny. That's about it.
Okay.
Played some Vigor, I think this is what it's called. Yeah, recently it's free to play. It's like a extraction shooter.
Oh, okay.
I think Sweaty Spooks talks about it a couple times.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. But it's alright. Free to play, and work. I'm doing a lot of work.
Yeah, man. I know if it's anything like Florida right now, you're just slammed, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it
season,
is.
Bees, ants.
Prime time. I just did a carpenter ant job today, and it's funny. Carpenter ants, as you know, they're territorial, and they fend off, somebody wanting to mess with them by, don't know if you guys knew this or not, but they actually vibrate their legs to tell you to go away. Yeah. So I was looking over this gutter today, and all I hear is tick, 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 tick. I'm like, oh man, that's a big nest. And she's getting them in her closet. Anyway. We're not talking about me, Todd. So, but yeah, man, I know you're probably slammed as hell right now.
Yeah.
If anything like I just haven't had
season.
Exactly. Well, thanks again, man. Thanks for coming back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I can't wait to hear your topic tonight. It's going to be really good. And last but certainly not least, iSoccerogi. How you doing, man? What have you been doing this week?
Kind of, like Technickal and Zombie said, like just kind of blew through the story this week. With Destiny, and been kind of perfecting my Prismatic Titan build. I got a really nice class item that's putting some things together. Ended up doing the new GM this week as well.
Yeah, what'd you think of it, man? What'd you think? It's supposed to be the hardest GM ever, right?
Yeah, the hardest GM ever, quote unquote, right? It's good. I wouldn't say it's the hardest one that I've ever done, but the ad density really makes it. And it's a lot of fun to try out, like your good prismatic builds or any kind of other builds that you're working on, just to see like, how does this work with like all these ads plus like some higher health, targets and stuff. So had a lot of fun doing that. My wife and I started watching Cobra Kai for the first time too.
That's right. Yeah. The latest season just came out. The last season.
Yeah. So we're starting from season 1 and it's phenomenal. I love that show. It's so good.
Yeah.
So we've been enjoying that, but, other than that, just kind of chilling and, knocking out some seasonal stuff here and there. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Very cool, man. Well, thanks again, man. Anytime I can get you to hop on the show, it's always a joy, man. I know you don't come on the show very often, so I appreciate you making the time tonight. I know you've been working all day today too. Which, I mean, we all have been working today, except Technickal.
Yeah.
He played hooky today, but anyway, let's see. For me this week, I talked about my Carpenter Ant situation. We'll get past that. I did play week 3 of Act 2? I can't keep track. Hey guys, we got a frog. Now we got to go feed it. Yay. I don't know about this, episodic stuff so far. I mean, I did everything I could, and correct me if I'm wrong here. We still can't focus the new weapons, can we? Can we focus the new weapons yet?
You can.
Oh, I got to feed my frog.
New specimen.
I got to feed the frog. Okay. All right. Fine.
Yep.
Fine. I'll go feed the frog this weekend. Let's see. What else did I do? My buddy Warcry and we did our Monday night, after bowling. We did our placement games for comp. Cause I really like that new, auto rifle. I think it's called the Riposte. Yeah. It's a 720 lightweight frame. Kind of new. Really clean sight on it. And I love the sights on weapons, man. That's a big seller for me. And I got a Killing Wind Desperate Measures roll, which is not really a perfect God roll, but I'll be cranking that out every week to get my 3 games to get that done. Let's see, both Gold 3 to start. I tell you what, maybe it was cause Trials was on. It was the last night of Trials, but we had an easy time. I think we won 6 out of 7 games, maybe 6 out of 8 that we played that night. So, I mean, it seemed very easy, which now I just jinxed myself. So that's all right. I did, like I said, I got my first Riposte, that lightweight auto rifle, and, just a good looking weapon, man. White and red just looks so good on a weapon. And of course, it's double Crucible drops this week. So I think I'm going to do some PvP this weekend. No movies this week. I'm still watching House of Dragons on HBO. 2 episodes left. It's getting pretty spicy. It's getting really good. I started watching a new show on Apple TV Plus called Sunny. It's about a widower, who's played by Rashida Jones, which is easy on the eyes, who must deal with her husband's high-tech robot that he made for her, should he pass away. And he did pass away. His son, actually her son, their son, and him both passed away supposedly passed away on a plane crash. So, it's getting kind of good. You know, Apple likes to roll out the episodes every week and never just give it to us all at once to watch. So far it's been interesting. You know, Rashida Jones, Parks and Rec. Can't beat that. So I've got the first 3 episodes down, so I'll let you guys know once I finish that one. And as always, my luck, when I had decided to have a roundtable episode, Bungie decides, hey, Gator's having a roundtable episode, guys. You know what? Let's do an info dump tonight. Let's just dump a bunch of information in the TWAB. How about it, huh? And, yeah, so I'd want to mention some highlights from this week in Destiny. Bungie's making a lot of changes to Crucible. Their Crucible Strike team chimed in. They're increasing weighting of the popular maps in PvP, and they list those maps. They're all in the TWAB if you want to look at them. Here's the coolest thing though, the Passage of Persistence. This is where you have to win 2 games in a row, and then any game after that takes the win off. And you basically just keep winning 2 games, and you get the non-adept version of the weapon of the week without having to go fully flawless, which is really good. I did try that card. I think I got it in about 2 hours. Just got to stack those wins back to back. And, you know, if you have a bad game, it's no big deal. You've locked in 2. So the key is to get back to back wins. That way you just keep locking more and more wins. But what they did, if you play in a full trio, a full fire team, there's no penalties anymore. All you have to do is win 7 games. I mean, how easy is that going to be? Well, Nat, I just jinxed myself again. That's all right. It's okay. I'm all right with this. But, yeah, you get the weekly non-adept weapon. You can't beat that. They're removing Triumph and Iron Banner by Tribute. Not a fun game. They're bringing it back to putting on the back burner. They're going to tune it better and supposedly fix things better. Who knows? We'll see. They improve the clash score limit in comp to make it more in that 8-minute game time, you know, not hanging around too long. And, they are creating a better spawn system in the collision game mode, which drove me nuts when I played collision because I would spawn by myself behind the enemies. I was just like, come on, man. Are you serious? They improved the lobby balancing using a better variant of the snake draft that will handle fire teams better. This is big. So we'll see how that works. They're on to phase 2 now. So we'll see if that works. Cause it is hard to balance when you have a full fire team of several different skill levels, how do you work around that when you're putting a team together on the other side? So supposedly this extra variant they have coming out is gonna account for fire teams better in the variance of skill levels. Quitter penalties are getting harsher if you're a quitter. If you quit all the time in games. I heard someone say they quit like 35% of the time. There was a statistic out there that people quit 35% of their games. That is nuts. I don't know if they're elo farming or what. I don't understand that, but yeah, you're going to be put into a special little room if you start quitting more games. So don't do that, especially in comp. Threaded Spectre and Swarm Grenades. Sorry, Prismatic Hunters, your fun time is over. That has been nerfed. Well, will be nerfed in the coming up in the August patch that they're bringing, that they'll be dropping probably next week or two. But the big news, exotic class item drop changes. TLDR of this is if you're playing the overthrow chest and other things that are in the overthrow area, you're going to get better chances, supposedly a lot better chances of getting your class items to drop. If you are going around and just farming chests in other areas of the Pale Heart, then you're going to get a lot worse chance of getting an exotic class item. So what they're saying here is, guys, play overthrow. Okay. Play overthrow. And each tier you get in overthrow gives you a better and better chance of getting that, class item to drop. So, I'm excited about that because I love just jumping into overthrow and just farming chests and doing whatever in there. And, it does work in overthrow lost sectors and on co-op missions in the Pale Heart. So keep that in mind as well. Bungie wants you to play more Onslaught, and they're bringing back the Arsenal of Attunement. Now a 60% chance of your attuned weapon when you play Onslaught. I'm guessing there's not many people playing Onslaught anymore, but they're trying to get people to play more. See Zavala in the tower to set your attunement for that. There's some art, some videos of the week, and anything else I'm missing here, guys? Anything I missed I need to add? That's kind of the highlights. I just skimmed through it this week. There's a ton, by the way, there's a ton of matchmaking jargon for all us PvP nerds out there that want to see how matches are put together. There's a ton of information. There's a bunch of graphs. There's a bunch of different things in there you can stare at and examine and get your protractor out and all that stuff. So, anything else, guys, I'm missing from the TWAB this week? Okay. So if that's it, the only thing left is player support report. Gentlemen?
Shit's broken.
I think shit's broken.
I heard shit's broken.
Shit's broken? Okay. Thank you.
Shit's broken.
All right. Now that we've caught up, let's get into the first topic of our show right after my mandatory bathroom break. So we'll be right back.
Hey, thanks for listening to Guardian Downcast. There are several ways you can contact us. First, you can find us on X at Guardian Downcast. Or you can find us on our Instagram at Guardian Downcast and see what pics and reels Todd the Gator and his podcast guests want to share with you guys. We have a brand new website too. Just visit guardiandowncast.com, where you can find all of our contact info, leave us a voicemail, give our show a rating or review, search for any past episodes, or even give back to our community. Also, don't forget to sign up for future updates to the show, where we'll also have random drawings throughout the year, and you may win a gift card or even some GDC merch. And finally, you can send us an email at guardiandowncast@gmail.com. Our community thrives on interaction, so get involved and check us out. And later, Guardian.
All right, for our first topic, we have something we've never done on the Roundtable before. Soccer and Technickal both brought the same topic for the show. So we drew straws. Soccer drew the short straw. So he is going to start the conversation, and then Technical's going to chime in afterwards. So, Soccer, what's your topic, man? What are you bringing to the table tonight?
Yeah, man. So I wanted to talk about, kind of just this ongoing discussion that's been happening about difficulty in Destiny. It's kind of always been a discussion that's been around, from D1 to D2, stuff's too hard. The game's too easy. Bungie needs to nerf X activity. Bungie needs to increase difficulty and Y activity. Mars Battleground, Grandmaster is too hard. So we need, Bungie, you got to bring down the ads and that. It's always been this ongoing discussion. And so I think especially the discussion that happened around like the surges and like the damage resistance and raids really kind of brought this back up into light, when Final Shape launched. And I know that they kind of removed that, but I think some of those discussions are still there. So tonight I just wanted to like ask and discuss with you all kind of your thoughts around where Destiny has been in difficulty, and do they need to make things harder? Is it in a good spot where it is, or maybe there are some things that you want to see changed in some certain areas? So my first question for you all is, do you think Destiny has gradually gotten harder or easier over time? And where do you see this happening? Whether that's like certain activities, just general gameplay, just kind of want to open the floor up with that. So,
sure, I'll chime in here. I think unfortunately it's not a linear up or down. I think it's been very cyclical. There's been very hard times. There's been very easy times. And it's sort of hard for Bungie to balance that with the ongoing power creep, obviously, that everyone knows it's real. If you were to throw the new Battlegrounds at us, vanilla D2, I don't think anyone would have cleared it. Everything's much harder now, but in perspective, we're much stronger. Going back to raids and the surge changes that they added with the Final Shape coming out. At first I was actually a fan of the surges. I thought it was a fun mix-up. I thought it was, it kept things from getting stale. Every week if you're running Still Hunt, it's going to get boring. So you want to change your load up and sort of figure out what's most efficient to get it done each week. Granted, then you're sort of in like a 4-week rotation of, okay, I'm going to run Cloud Strike this week, then I'm going to run Still Hunt, then I'm going to run Leviathan's Breath, and then, so on and so forth, for each surge. But, also as an advocate for the community, I did understand that was, it's very limiting, obviously. You've got a lot of people that, when that change came out, couldn't beat the new raid, couldn't beat old raids, couldn't beat old dungeons. Soloing dungeons became near impossible because the damage swing that they were looking at was like 60-something%, I think.
Wow.
It was significant going from a +20 to a -5, which I believe we're still -5, but now we've also reverted the surge changes. So it gives you a little bit of power back, but in general, I think Bungie got a lot of flack when Root of Nightmares came out, and they really had to clap back with the Final Shape, and they did. For a few weeks, it was really challenging, and it's still challenging. The new raid is hard. A lot of people don't have clears yet, and that's perfectly fine. It's a hard raid. They did well, but it is going to be a little limiting to a lot of the game population.
What do you think, Z0mb1eP0ps? You got an opinion on this?
Yeah. I don't do much of the harder stuff. I'm more mid-level. But I think like the easier stuff, like the low-end content, they've made like really easy. Like once you can figure it out, it's really, really easy. But the higher end is really, really hard. So there's kind of a huge gap there, opposed to more of a smooth transition. You're either down here in this side of it, or you're way up here on this side of it. So I don't know. They could get better with it. At least they didn't add more bullet sponges, more champions and that kind of thing. They're kind of trying to make it more mechanic heavy and stuff.
Yeah, I'm kind of split on this topic because when you guys brought it, I mean, our Discord was on fire about this topic. And when you guys mentioned it, I said, you know what? you guys had a lot to say in the Discord. I said, bring it to the table. Let's talk this out, man. Let's talk this out and see. See, I'm kind of split because, I do multiple characters, sometimes multiple accounts. And I'm all about, hey, man, I just want to crush through this and grind it and get it. Just give me the loot, man. Just give me the loot. Give me what I need to go play the higher stuff, So part of me wants to say, make it easier. I think it's easier. To answer your question, Soccer, I think it's much easier to play Destiny now. And I think part of the reason I think they're doing that is because they have to get new influx of players to come in this game. I mean, I know we're at the end of this life cycle of Destiny 2, but they still have to get people to come in. If someone comes in and are like, dude, I went and did a raid, and I remember seeing a new player video, and the guy had no clue that you have to have 6 people in a raid. It was him and his buddy jumping into a King's Fall, and they kept dying. They didn't understand why. They didn't understand the mechanics that they had to have 6 people to carry the balls and, slam them into the middle, the beacon areas and stuff. But I'm going to admit something, and I know you guys are going to jump all over me, and please don't judge me. I haven't even attempted the new raid yet. You know why? I was watching when I was playing the campaign story on my second account. I was watching all day the raid race, and I was looking at how difficult this was. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to touch this with a 10-foot pole, because I need to make sure I have people who knows what they're doing. And I just really didn't want to go in and everyone just feel around blindly and figure out what to do. It just didn't seem like fun to me. And I mean, now we've got someone who soloed the damn thing. I can't believe that. It just boggles my mind. But, I'm getting a little more confident now, but you mentioned this Technickal in your notes, and I wanted to bring this up. I want to see how your opinion is on this. When the Ron raid came out, the higher level content creators, I'm not going to mention names, said it was laughable. It was so easy. In fact, one content creator just kept his machine gun in his hand, and that's all he did was just shoot stuff with his machine gun. He didn't even bother using grenades or anything. He literally just walked around and just shot stuff with a machine gun. You guys know what I'm talking about. But here's the thing. I had so many more new players have the confidence to jump in and try that raid than ever before. Val, you name it, whatever other raid there is that's been thrown out in Destiny 2, the Ron raid, people got it in their head and saw that people said it was very easy to play. So maybe they decided, you know what? If it's really this easy, maybe this is the time to jump in and try the raid. Well, let's put it on the other thing. Let's put it on the other hand. Bungie's like, oh, our raid's too simple, huh? Too simple for you, huh? Okay, here, bam. There's your salvation raid. Now what do you got to say? So what is your opinion on this, Technickal?
Yeah, I mean, Ron, if you look at the numbers, by far has the most contest mode completions, which is pretty indicative of how the raid is going to sort of live through the rest of the game. It's easy because there's limited number of sort of moving pieces, I'll say. And each of the encounters can be done by less than half the team, except for the third encounter, which requires slightly more than half the
planets. Team. Yeah, that's a fun
one. But I mean, Salvation's Edge, when it came out, we jumped in on contest. We got through the first encounter. It took us 8 hours. We decided, we're proud of that. And we didn't do contest anymore. We jumped in after contest and got the clear, but, it was hard. It requires everyone to be involved in almost every encounter. It's a lot less approachable because in Ron, it's somewhat straightforward, not a lot of brain power to do the mechanics. In Salvation's Edge, there is, especially in the fourth encounter, Verity, which I'm sure some people who are listening have either done or seen videos on, is strictly puzzle. So if you remember back to the days of, Last Wish when it first came out, the Vault, the first team to clear Vault literally guessed 9 correct dunks in a row. it was on that level of complication for this one. So it requires a lot of brain power, which again is somewhat not scary, but people might want to avoid it because, when you're playing a video game, you're trying to have fun. You're trying to maybe escape the real world. You're trying to relax. You don't want to use your brain. You kind of want to disconnect. Yeah. You can't really do that with this raid, so it becomes much more challenging to approach for newer players or for less experienced raiders. But again, we've done plenty of Sherpas through it already. It's doable. If you're taking one person through, we took the other gator through, RNG through. It took us about 2 hours, and he learned every encounter. He learned every mechanic that he could need. He learned how to do. Except in the last encounter, we by the time we got there, we were just kind of ready to finish it off. But
in what world did RNG Gator get it done before me? We must be next. We got to be in the upside down right now. What the heck is going on?
You let us know. We got a really, really good team. We've been carrying a lot of people through it and getting them taught and everything. We got myself and Noodle sort of act as the duo Sherpa squad, and then we've got a bunch of killers who've got many clears so far.
Awesome.
You let me know when.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your train of thought there. Do you still remember what you were going to say? Sorry, my bad. You said RNG. I just set me off.
You got triggered.
I got triggered big time.
No, I mean there's something to learn in each encounter, and they're fun encounters. It's like in Vault, in Last Wish. Once you learn it once and you've got it to click, it's very smooth. It's very fast. It's actually, I would say, my favorite encounter of the whole raid. It's not a lot of killing, which if you want to go into a raid to kill stuff, that's more towards the Ron era of raiding, I'll say. But Ron and Salvation's Edge are like polar opposites, I'd say.
Yeah. Do you have another question too, Soccer? You had one question. Did you have any other questions? And do you want to comment on that as well?
Yeah, I got a couple other questions, but let me ask this first. Z0mb1eP0ps, you said you were kind of a self-proclaimed mid-tier player, kind of doing some mid-tier content. Does the thought of doing like Salvation's Edge, what's been deemed as like a very difficult raid, like kind of turn you off from trying to attempt that? So do other raids like feel more comfortable for you? I'm just trying to like understand, because like for me, like I like to just do everything in the game, and whether that gives me the title of elitist or like try hard or whatever, like that's fine. But like I just enjoy doing all aspects of the game. So like for someone, like I said, self-proclaimed kind of mid-tier content, stuff like that, like does that turn you off, like hearing some of those things, like it's difficult or like it's really hard, or what?
I wouldn't say it like turns me off to the content. It can make it more daunting. Like, I don't know if I got 2 hours to set aside to, do one raid or something like that so much. Or maybe I can't get enough 5 other players. I have not done the new raid. But not because it seems to be difficult. Just because, aligning other times up and stuff.
No, that makes sense.
But like master raids and stuff like that, I just don't have any desire to do any of those, really. The loot's not worth it in my opinion, to try for it. So
yeah, I'd like to add there, you're talking about dedicating a lot of time to doing a raid, and I agree. This one and some of the other ones do take a lot of time to do. What we've actually had to do with some is, we find that getting to the 4th encounter is a good stopping point. So what we'll usually do is we'll split it up into a 2-evening event, and we'll just say we're going to get as far as we can. We know we're going to have a cutoff. We don't want everyone to stay here until, midnight on a weekday. We're going to get to the third encounter, or we're going to get to the fourth encounter. We're going to stop there. Everyone's going to get a good night's sleep. They're going to go to work the next day. We're going to pick it up in the evening, and we'll get to clear there. So I think this raid specifically has changed my attitude, because I'm very much a sit down, get it done. You get it done and you don't get up till you're done. But this raid, I've definitely approached it the opposite of, I'm happy with where we got. We can finish it another time.
I like that idea, because that solves that problem, because most people have a couple hours to give in. They got a couple hours. They got to put first they got to put the kids to bed, then they have 2 hours before they got to get to bed, because they got to be up at 6 a.m., that's a great idea. That's a great idea, Technickal. Do you have any other questions for us, Soccer, since you're driving the bus on this one?
Yeah. So kind of shifting gears a little bit, with Final Shape, we got Prismatic, and Prismatic has really opened the doors into what we can do, turning kind of a weapon-based looter shooter with abilities to ability-based with weapons, almost in some cases. So how do you think Prismatic has affected difficulty, if at all, with Destiny 2? Has it made things easier, or has it just kind of really just opened the game up for more of a, play how you want to play, type game and experience?
Yeah, I'll take this one first. I haven't taken it off, Soccer. I'm using the same setup that I had when I played the original Legendary. I mean, I'm the guy who's going to throw down. Actually, I don't actually quit using I don't use a class item anymore. I've got the Warlock Bond. You guys know what I'm talking about. Let me just I'm just going to keep them open tonight so I don't forget terms. I've got the Getaway Artist. I'm throwing down the Arc Buddy to help me out. I'm using this in Crucible too, by the way, and it's working. I also have was it Bastion or whatever it's called, where you do your Phoenix dive, and now you got not only an Arc Buddy, now you got a Solar Buddy, and it's throwing mortars over your head, and it's very accurate. It seeks very well. And then if I want to, I can pick up, No Time to Explain and have another buddy. I have a third buddy. I don't do that. I rather use the Red Death and just get my cure instantly when I kill something. Survivability, that's the way it is with me. But I haven't even looked at my Nova Bomb or my Void subclass since, because I can still use Blink on my Prismatic. I can still use Nova Bomb, which I miss a lot of times, but that's okay. But I'm having so much fun using Prismatic, and I've mentioned in previous shows, Bungie needs to just ride this train. They need to just keep adding more aspects from the other subclass until all we have is the Prismatic. I think Prismatic can take over all the light and dark subclasses. I really do. I think that's the future. I think that's the way they've already planned on going. They did, increase, they did tune and add some extra stuff to a lot of the light subclasses, at least for Final Shape. So be honest, I tried the new solar one. It was okay, but man, I'm telling you, nothing beats Prismatic right now. It is just so good. It really is like a Swiss Army knife. I can bring it in Crucible. I'll just switch to Blink. I can switch over to doing GMs or the seasonal material, or run around doing Pale Heart, and I'm just annihilating everything in front of me. So I'm having a ball using it. And yeah, I haven't taken it off yet.
I mostly agree with that. I've taken it off a couple times just to see where the old classes were at, but I always go back to Prismatic. You get all the debuffs and buffs at the same time, and it's with the grenades. It's crazy. I don't know, but they should definitely continue to build into it. I think just keep adding stuff like you said.
Yeah. What about you, Technickal? You taking it off?
I have now and then. For the most part, though, I am definitely running Prismatic. I think my Hunter has not touched anything else. my Warlock has only changed slightly depending on raid setting. If, we need a well. They were smart. They didn't put well on Prismatic, which I like because the new Solar Super is phenomenal. I mean, when you get down to the numbers, it's like, I think 95% damage reduction. You can literally sit there and just tank everything. Really? Like, you don't have to have a well. Granted, that's only for you. That's not for your team. But, yeah, pretty much if a well is needed, I took it off twice on my Titan for, I wanted to try the new bubble with Saint 14, since they changed that in the final shape. It's fine. It's, it's still the same thing. I wish weapons was still on standard and you didn't need Helm of Saint 14 for it, but, I can see sort of the push for it. And then, honestly, Strand Titan has been kind of my go-to for my Titan, with the new Wishful Ignorance arms. I don't know if anyone else has played with them much.
No.
They're it gives you an extra melee, and then it also buffs your Fletchet Storm.
Okay.
Which I truthfully never used before the final shape. I might have used it once when it came out in whatever season it came out during Lightfall, but other than that, never used it. And I'm actually having a lot of fun with it. It's fun to launch yourself up in the air and then just keep throwing these little needles at stuff and watch everything kind of die in front of you, and then you get it right back because the Banner of War makes your melee recharge faster.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you still had Banner of War up. Yeah, nice.
Nope.
That's hard to beat Banner of War, man. That's such a strong.
It really is.
What about you, Soccer? I'll throw it back at you, man. What are you doing?
Yeah. I mean, I really haven't taken the thing off because, you can rotate abilities so well. And especially with, the class items, too. It just opens up so much. My Prismatic Titan, I mean, you guys remember, the Heart of the Most Light, Storm Grenade, meta stuff for a while? You can do that, but just with Consecration now, with, the class item. And that's what I'm doing. And, you throw Transcendence in there, and your abilities are recharging so much faster, so it's why would I take this off? I also get, a bonus damage percentage just flat from being Transcendent. So, why would I switch to other subclasses if I'm doing, DPS to a boss or something? I just pop it just before DPS starts, and I'm doing more damage. So, it's curious. I'm curious to see, where they'll continue with this. And, I'll probably come back to this at a later discussion tonight. But I just think, it's starting to make some things just really, really simple. Even just playing, some of the older, GMs and strikes with Prismatic, Fallen Saber, Disgrace. Those used to take me, 20, 30 minutes to do back with just the basic, subclass 3.0. But now, I'm doing those in, 10, 12, 15 minutes. So, I've cut that in half by, and that's a significant amount of time for a Grandmaster, too. So, it's one of those things where I love it, but it's also, it's a double-edged sword, because if you take it off, you realize, the other things are not as good. So Bungie either has to, bring the other things up or bring Prismatic down. And, it just depends on Bungie's mood.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they bring the other things up. Which would be the better answer to solve some of that. But,
okay.
Yeah.
Did you have another question for us?
Yeah. One more question. And, this was just kind of to wrap things up and tie it back to my original kind of introduction and first question. But are there certain activities or features in the game that you'd like to see maybe become harder or maybe a little easier? Are there certain activities that you just don't hop into because they're too hard, or you just avoid it, certain activities because, they're just kind of easy. They're kind of why would I bother do that? So yeah.
Yeah. For me, I kind of already told you where I come from. It's all about just give me the loot. I mean, tell me what I got to do to grind it out and get the loot. I'm that kind of player, man. I'm sorry. I am. I know you like the challenge soccer. I know you do. You thrive on that stuff.
I do.
You like to be challenged. I get that. And I like to be challenged too. When we punch through a raid encounter or do a special raid challenge and we get it done, it's exciting. It feels like you got something done. And especially if you have to do it a certain way. I think I was helping Sen one night get his title, and we had to do one more challenge at the end of Ron, and I can't remember what it was exactly. You guys know exactly, I'm sure, but I helped him out with that. I never tried it before. And I was like, man, that was really fun to play it a different way, to do this encounter a different way. I liked it. It didn't, there's some times when I feel that, but for me, time is just so limited for me these days, especially in the summer months, because, I'm just slammed business wise, and I get home and I'm exhausted. I've been in the 100-degree heat all day, and I got to sit down and decide what I want to work on in the game. And I'm one of those players who like to just kind of pick away at a certain thing I want to do in the game. There's certain things I want to get. Like right now, I still got to get my exotic class items for my Titan and my Hunter still. I've got a ton of them for my Warlock, but I've got everybody through the legendary campaign, but now I got to run dual Destiny on those two accounts. And I've had friends come to me and say, hey man, I want to run dual Destiny. I just can't find anybody to do it. But we've never found the time to get together at the same time. He works nights, I work days, and it's been tough. But, man, I'll tell you what, man, there's definitely been a lot of power creep. And I think that's by design. I think Bungie decided at the same time of making that Salvation's Edge raid so difficult, I think at the same time they simplified build crafting or made it more lenient where you can get away with a lot more things to appeal to the player that's maybe deciding to, and I mean, you guys see it. We get members in our Discord every day say, hey, I haven't played since Shadowkeep and I'm deciding to come back and play. And man, this is a lot of fun. I feel like I'm on fire, everything like that. So, for me, I mean, I do like challenging. I love running GMs, man. GMs are fun. I remember the first time we ran a GM soccer, I was like, all right, let's go, guys. And they're like, whoa. You're like, well, hold on, Gator. I ran out there in the middle of a battleground one and just got slammed. And of course, Hazel's like, MF, please, and Soccer's like, hold on, I'll come get you. And it was an eye opener. So I like that challenge, but there's times when Bungie just let me grind it out and get what I need to get, So that's my take on it. What about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of, from my perspective, obviously everyone's going to have their own opinions. I think there's a lot of balance right now that's done pretty well. Raids feel like they're in a good place. GMs might be a little on the easier side, like Soccer said, but, I'm not going to complain about that. Sort of like Gator was saying. At the end of the day, like, if I'm not getting something from it, it's probably not worth my time. So the fact that I can get more stuff quicker, I like that. I'm a contest raider. I like to do them. We don't clear them all the time, but I do like the challenge of the game. I like to be challenged every now and then. I don't need to be challenged every day. I want to be able to pick and choose those things. And honestly, when you're doing a contest mode clear, you're not there for loot. If you're there for loot, you're there for the wrong reason. If you're going into a GM, you're probably going in for the loot. You need materials. You want the new gun. You want an adept roll of something. You're there for that. So I think it's pretty nicely done right now. I don't think there's anything that's too hard. If you're going in with the correct team, I know we kind of talked about it before. Soccer and I, in prep for this roundtable, played a little bit with Z0mb1eP0ps. And I know he said like it was his second GM that he'd done. And we kind of cooked through it. So, it's sort of building that, level of confidence in the community. So now, he might get a few GMs under his belt and now he's, comfortable. He's going to start taking people through. So it's really, you can approach it, the bash your head against the wall method and go in with 3 people who don't really do GMs. You can go in with 6 people who don't really raid. And you can struggle. And let me tell you, you will learn that way. You'll learn probably best that way. You're not going to get loot. So I think it's nice. I think if you want to do those harder things that we're calling harder, you just have to know the method to approach it. Find some people and you'll get it done. I promise you can do it.
Technical, you just said something, man. I have to repeat it. It's so on the point. When you're putting a raid together, setting expectations at the beginning is so important. We'll have people who will come into a learning raid and just get frustrated because we haven't cleared the encounter. Like, I really want the loot, man. I really want the loot. And then if you're like, hey, this is going to be a speed run. We're running through this sucker quick. Patent pending. We're running through this quick. We're getting our rewards and we're getting out and we're moving to our next characters. We're going to slam it and get it done. And for the week, we're going to get all our drops for the week, right? I used to do that. With Kingsfall all the time in Destiny 2, or in Destiny 1, actually. But there's times I'm always in these learning raids. I'm always bringing in someone who hasn't raided before. And you can just see some of the people that are chirping for you that want those drops and get frustrated when the new person just isn't grasping the encounter. And that is so important, man. Setting expectations at the beginning of the raid or GM or whatever. Hey, we're going to learn about champions today, guys. We're going to learn about champions. We may not get through this GM tonight, but we're going to learn about how champions work and all that. And, that was just such a good point, Technical. I want to make sure I repeated that. I didn't know if everybody caught that. So.
Yeah. And I'd like to sort of like jump on what you were talking about. Maybe after we'll let Z0mb1eP0ps go through his opinion before I derail too much.
I wanted to ask Z0mb1eP0ps something too. I know you got an answer. When you ran the GM with him, did you think the rewards were worth it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It like you said, it wasn't too difficult with those two.
It wasn't double drops.
Throwing me over their shoulders.
It wasn't double drops. Go on a double drop week.
No.
Soccer's brought me through a couple of those. I'm like, holy moly, man! Look at all these materials I just got. I just got 4 prisms. What the heck?
Nice.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
But no, loot wise, I think it's worth it as quick as they were able to carry me through it pretty much.
Nice.
So it's not bad. But as far as like difficulty wise, I think it's in a good place right now. Maybe if they put like a raid light mode, so more people would come in and try to experience, like learn the mechanics and stuff. I think that would be really cool. Really good idea. I don't know. But I think that's about the only way I could see improvement on it. So, like I said, I think it's in a good spot right now.
Okay.
Yeah. That's good. And I just want to reiterate kind of what Technical was saying. Just in fact of like if you want to go in and bash your head against the wall, you will learn that way. And that's true. Like, that's how I learned everything with like GMs and everything. Like, it was the season, with Keitel, when everyone was starting to get into GMs and stuff. And like me, Davis, and GoHawks just decided, you know what, let's try these. Let's figure them out. It would be like 2-3 nights of us just like slowly making progress, figuring things out, figuring loadouts out, what's good, what's bad. And then we'd get it. And it felt so good to finally get it after like 6-10 tries. And I think like those experiences are really special and unique. And like, I know like that mentality of like, I just want to burn through it and get the loot. I don't, I just want to get this done. I totally get that. But if you have some time and you have like 1 or 2 friends or like, 5-6 to really just sit down, figure things out and just try and learn, that's the best way to go about it, in my opinion. And so I say that as an encouragement to just go ahead and try it. Don't be afraid. Just sit down and learn it. You know what? If you play like 2 hours every night, take an hour of it. Just figure it out. Just attempt it. That's the best way to learn. But that's all I had for you all tonight.
That's a good point, man.
Unless anyone else wanted to say anything else. So,
let me ask you this, guys, before we go on this topic. Where's the line? Where's the line the studio has to draw and concede and make the game easier for a broader audience versus your hardcore audience? I know Bungie deals with this probably all the time. How do you decide what the line is? I know it's a super loaded question. I'm sorry in advance. How does a studio decide where to draw that line?
Yeah, I think in part of that is trying out new things like the surges and everything, like implementing that and like seeing how does this work? Does it work well? How does the audience receive that? And then, if it's not received well, taking that away, but still kind of and changing it in a way. Because I remember going in those first few weeks with surges, especially with you, Technical. Like when it came to Arc Week on the Witness, that was brutal. Like having to pull out Cloud Strike for the Witness rather than Still Hunt, like that took some time to figure out. But and now coming back, now that we're like still -5, it feels better. I mean, it's a little, there are some parts that can be a little annoying, but I think it's in a good spot. So I think Bungie just trying things and throwing things out. And if it doesn't stick, it doesn't stick. That's okay. So I think the game overall right now is in a good spot between some like moderately difficult things. Here's some easier things. Here's some really hard things. I think it's in a good, healthy spot. Okay. And there's certain activities that fit all of those roles. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it for a while. I think I try to be an advocate for, the more players who can get through it, better. I don't like the idea that people buy these games and these expansions and they're gate kept, we'll say. I think everything should be accessible to an average player. Raids, dungeons, etc. When you get into the GM and the master version of raids and things like that, that's where I think the line should be there. Okay. I think raids, dungeons, some of the higher tier of Nightfalls, I think that should be like where it's tuned around, so to say, to get more people through it. Because why would you make the content if your player base can't play it? If you're restricting 80% of your player base from getting this new raid done, why'd you spend all the hours, all the money doing it?
Boy, you're going to hate my story tonight then, Technical.
I mean, it's the truth though. Like, no, I agree. They've built these raids, especially the new one and some of the old ones where it's not for the average player. At least not in a group of, all average players. You need some people that know what's going on and how to sort of direct traffic. I like when I Sherpa, I like to call myself the director. I will specifically tell people what to do. I won't sort of let them go in blind. I'll explain the encounter. And then mid-encounter, I'm giving them directions. I might be watching over their shoulder, sort of doing my job, but also making sure that they, when they don't quite understand, that they do understand and they get it done properly. So it's, I think raids should be accessible. I think that's where the line should be. Everything normal mode, and then anything above is sort of for the more try-hard and elite community.
Gotcha. Well, before we go, Z0mb1eP0ps, you want to add to that? Where do they draw the line, man?
I agree with Technical. I mean, at Grandmaster, I mean, that's what it's called, Grandmaster, I mean, I think it's in a good spot. You have the lower end content, the mid stuff, and then the higher end. But the more people that could get through the raids, more people that learn the GMs and whatnot. Obviously, then they can teach more people, bring more through. So,
excellent. Well, soccer, Technical, excellent topic tonight, man. Thanks for bringing that to the table tonight. And you guys out there listening, what do you think? Go to our Guardian Downcast feedback channel and let us know what's your opinion on all this. We'd love to hear from you. All right. I got to stretch. and I probably got to go to the bathroom too. So we're going to get to our next topic right after this.
Hey, it's Brittany, your favorite mod, and you're listening to Guardian Downcast.
All right, Z0mb1eP0ps, you're up. What are you bringing to the table tonight, man?
Digital versus physical. Media content, digital games, everything's instant access, versus going out and buying game disc, game cartridges, and that stuff. So my first question about it is, the convenience or lack thereof with it. So what are you guys' opinions on that?
Yeah, as the resident Gen Z in this group of people, I like the digital. Like, I love being able to just go in, like, on the PlayStation Store, right, and just buy a game, and I have the game right there. Like, I don't have to leave my house. I don't have to go anywhere. Like, I don't have to go to GameStop and go pick up the game, bring the disc back, and all that. Like, I could just do that from my home. I love that. I was actually talking about this with Kingsley today. There's part of me that misses, like, having a physical, like, movie almost. Like, I had so many memories of going to, like, Blockbuster with my dad growing up on, like, Friday night. And we go to pick out a movie. Like, that was fun. And we watch it over the weekend and bring it back. And so, like, now I got to find out, okay, where's this movie streaming? Do I have to go rent it? Do I have to go figure this out? And, like, because, like, my wife hasn't seen, The Karate Kid. So I'm like, okay, now I got to find where that's streaming. It's like, do I have to go rent it somewhere? And, like, whereas, like, Blockbuster definitely had that. So it would have been easy to just go to Blockbuster and pick that up real quick. So I'm in this weird in between of, like, for games, it's nice. But for, like, movies and stuff, I love having a physical copy. So that's kind of where I am right now with some of that. So,
yeah, I mean, Soccer called himself the resident Gen Zer. I'm going to call myself the resident PC gamer. PCs don't have disk drives anymore. Nope. You're never going to find a computer that you can put a disk in and it's going to read it and you're going to play it. And also, you're probably not going to find those games on disk anyways to be able to put it in a drive. So, I mean, I'm pro digital, mainly just because of the platform I play on. I know even consoles are moving that way. I know when this topic came up, we kind of had a brief conversation. PlayStation 5s, you can, save $100 and go all digital. They take that sensor out of there. They take the scanner that reads your discs. They chuck it out the window. You save $100. Again, now you're reliant on an internet connection. Although at this point, I think you might be relying on an internet connection to play a disc anyways. Pretty much everything requires you to save to a cloud somewhere. It's no longer saved on your device. So, I think as the industry of gaming as a whole has moved towards digital and, made those adjustments on whatever console or platform you're playing on.
Yeah, I'm kind of caught in the middle too, Z0mb1eP0ps. It's funny. I decided to play Elden Ring again. So I re-downloaded it from my PS5 library, just sitting there in my library, and I'm like, hey, let's play it again. It has all my save data. It's saved on somewhere in my hard drive on my PS5. So I decided to download it, and it's a massive game. And the problem is Modern Warfare, whatever. What's the latest one? I can't even keep track. I got the physical Modern Warfare 3. I got the physical disc for my birthday this June. And I forgot I left it in the machine. So every time I deleted off Modern Warfare 3 and just kept it in my library, but every time I cranked up my PS5, There it is again. So what is going on here? It's like on auto download. What is going on here? Well, it's because the machine cranks up, immediately grabs my disk, and immediately downloads all the updates automatically. So I just didn't realize just until this week when we started to talk about this, how annoying it is to have a disk now. And if I take that disk out, I still need it to boot the game up. So if something happens to that disk, I'm screwed because I still need that as a boot up disk, even though it's in my digital library. I'm with you, Soccer, about movies. I love owning a copy of a movie. If I love The Matrix and I have it on DVD Blu-ray. I don't have a Blu-ray player anymore. So how do I play this damn thing? Well, I got a PS5 with a Blu-ray player in it. That is my Blu-ray player. And that's the reason I bought a PS5 with the Blu-ray player in it. But my biggest fear is do we even own anything anymore? I mean, look at Game Pass. Let's just take Game Pass. I know that's a touchy subject. There's been a lot of things swirling around. They just raised their prices. I made a video a long time ago about how I was really worried about the future of gaming when one company swallows up all these developers and packages in one streaming or digital offering. And we've seen what's happened with Game Pass. A lot of studios can't pay their bills because they can't sell the physical game anymore, get the income from it, because everyone's just paying what used to be $15 a month and just, and then I don't know how the income system works with Game Pass. I'm sure it's probably like everything else in life. It depends on views and downloads and whatever else is probably the metric. And if players aren't playing your game and you're locked in on Game Pass or some streaming service like Netflix, your movie's stuck there in oblivion or your game's stuck there in oblivion and you could just slowly just swirl down the drain and die as a developer, a studio or a movie developer. It really worries me that we don't own physical stuff anymore. And saying that I have a music collection, I really don't. My music collection is all Spotify and Apple Music now. And what happens if I decide tomorrow, I'm tired of paying $10 a month for Apple Music. I'm done. Well, guess what? I can't access that music anymore. So is it really a music collection? Or is it just a playlist I made on a platform that hopefully will not go out of business? So when it comes to physical and digital games, I love the convenience of just downloading it right there on the PlayStation Store or Steam. I'm a PC player too, even though I'm a controller user. But I love the fact that with our internet connections these days, I re-downloaded Elden Ring in 15 minutes. That's a huge file. It was not terabytes. It was tons of gigabytes of data. It's just a huge game. But, it was so nice to be able to just grab it from my library and say, hey, let's throw this in the PS5 and play it. It's so nice having that collection over there. It's very convenient. But I'm looking at my shelf here that used to hold a bunch of CD games, a bunch of DVD, disc-based games, and now it's full of controllers. There's no disc games anywhere. All my disc games are packed up in a box and in the attic right now. So, yeah, I'm a little worried. I love the convenience. Don't get me wrong. But there was a movie I saw something about a movie that was online, and I went to Google and I searched for it, and it was only available on this one streaming service that wasn't offered in the United States. I don't remember what it was. But I couldn't access that movie. And what if that movie was at Target? I could just grab it off the end cap and it's mine forever. But I have to agree with Technickal here that I don't think there's many disc-based games anymore where you don't have to connect with some kind of server online and download updates on it. I mean, not everything is live service, but you still have to be connected to the internet. If you look on these game discs, if you can still find them, it says right on the back, internet connection required and, must be connected to the server or something for updates or whatever, updating the game, making it better, getting rid of bugs, whatever it may be. And usually in the past, before digital became really big, the disc never meant anything. We put the disc in for Destiny and it downloaded the whole game still from the Destiny servers. So, I mean, come on. Is it really even physical anymore? So a long way of going around that question, Z0mb1eP0ps, but yeah, that's my take on it, man. Where are you at on this?
So 90% of the games I own are digital because it's just easier that way, like you said. Though I did purchase a physical copy just yesterday of, I think it's Madden 24 or some sports game for one of my kids. We saw it in Best Buy, cruising through the store. It was on sale. He's like, "Hey, can I get it?" Yeah, I mean, we could get it digitally and, share it throughout the house. But that's a physical copy. It was on sale. So,
sure.
Why not? It's a lot more convenient. We do have sometimes internet issues up here in the mountains, which really sucks because then you can't play any games. But whereas older games like my Nintendo 64, I got it hooked up to the TV in the bedroom. I could go play it regardless of my internet connection or what's going on. So, and like other media as well, like books even. Mm-hmm. My wife, she reads a lot on the Kindle, but so she doesn't have a whole lot of physical books. So you don't have a whole library. You don't have bookshelves and stuff so much anymore. But I don't know. I think we're moving towards that and not really owning anything. That's kind of how I feel. Maybe like this will be collectible more so than the game cartridges from, the Nintendo 64 days, from the NES days and such.
We're not even talking about the elephant in the room right now. I can go to my Samsung TV right now, connect a Bluetooth controller to any kind of Bluetooth controller to it, and play games right on the TV. I don't need a console. I don't need Steam. I don't need anything. I'll just go right to my TV and it has games already the Samsung offers on its platform.
Yep.
That's scary. Because, I mean, I don't know, man. It's just, what are we not seeing in the future here? Is there something we see coming around the bend that's just going to transform things? I mean, I know it's hard to look that far in the future, but it worries me a little bit. It does. I don't know.
Not physically owning things, kind of. We spent so much money on Destiny too.
Yeah.
All of us have, I know. But we don't. I don't have a physical copy of it. I don't have
not anymore.
Anything of it. If Bungie turns off the servers one day, it's done. All that time and money wasted.
Yeah, definitely, man.
So, but
do you have any other questions for us on this topic?
Yeah. Just if you guys feel like touching on the possible loss of all the internet and the loss of the digital content that we have. Say if, I don't know, you get accused of cheating and they kick your account, Xbox or PlayStation or Steam, they say you're cheating and completely kill your account. You lose all your games, so.
Yeah, you have no control. I got an IP ban from Bungie. You know why? Because when they first came out with Destiny 2, the beta, the PC beta, I decided to stream it. Never streamed before. And I used this software and I guess the reason I got an IP ban is they mentioned at the front of when they put out the PC beta, they said, listen, you can't put overlays in the game. You can't interrupt the code of the game. You can't insert anything into our game or we will IP ban you. And I never felt so helpless in my life, man. Here I love Destiny. And I couldn't play it on anything in my home. Nothing. I never felt so helpless. And I see these tweets where people are like, they said I was cheating. They said I was manipulating the internet. I was network, lag switching or whatever they call it. I don't know, to get an advantage or whatever. Or I was running some program from, I don't know when that interrupted something in the game or something, and now they detected it, and now I can't play the game anymore, it kind of is a little helpless. It's kind of if I had the physical game, I could just say, hell with it. I'm going to play Destiny whenever I want to. I'm going to put it in my game. You can't do anything about it. But everything is so connected now, man. It's so connected. And I tell you, you really want to feel helpless? Wait until a hurricane comes through your state. You lose all your internet, and then you pull up your hotspot on your AT&T phone, and then realize that lightning just struck the tower, and now you have no phone. You want to feel helpless? Try keeping yourself busy when you have no electricity, no internet, and no cell phone to do anything in your house. Candles and books, baby. It's back. That was really eye-opening,
I think from the perspective of like banning and things like that, each game kind of does it in their own corner. So like if Destiny bans you, you're not necessarily banned from Call of Duty and so on and so forth. Which is ironic because a lot of them use BattleEye. Like Rainbow Six Siege uses BattleEye, just like Destiny does. I think a lot of games.
Battlefield
a lot of games use BattleEye just as an anti-cheat software, which for better or for worse. But if they were smart, they would take all your accounts that are linked to BattleEye and say, well, they cheated in Destiny, so they're likely to cheat in Battlefield. Let's just ban them across all of them. That's, sort of straying from the point. But, I don't, in the grander scheme of, what if Steam gets hacked and, Sony got hacked. Sony gets hacked all the time. Unfortunately. That becomes the point of, you get nothing. You've got no access to anything. You got no servers. You cannot connect to your games. Same thing with digital versions for Xbox and PlayStation. You, like Gator said, you're helpless. Like you literally sit there and you go, what do I do? I'm in no control of this. I have no access to resolve the issue. I'm strictly waiting on Steam to either pay this hacker whatever money he wants, or for them to figure their shit out and get it back up and running. Which I agree in that aspect. And then sort of going to the other one of, what if you lose internet or power? Aside from an attack on a provider. We live somewhat in the middle of nowhere now in North Carolina. We lose power pretty frequently. Everything's overhead lines. We have no buried lines in our neighborhood, so we've been getting hit with rain all week. We've lost power several times. It happens. But yeah, it's just, you kind of lose hope of doing anything of your normal life. You have to go back to, paper books, candles, flashlights. We have, my wife, has a very large book collection. But at the same point, like we have, vinyl records. You can't even play those because the vinyl player has to plug into the wall.
That's true.
I can't go on my phone and play music because now I don't have Wi-Fi.
Wait a minute, you guys don't have the wind-up Victrola like I do at home? You guys don't have that?
No.
Damn, I am.
We like the vinyls, but we really don't go that far back. That's sort of like the millennial thing to do. We try to like adapt or adopt your some of the
some of our Gen X tech.
Exactly.
It's coming back, baby.
But it's got to be modernized because we're not that smart. We just like the look and the feel of it. But that's sort of my take, and
okay.
I'll leave it there.
All right, that leaves you, Soccer. What's your opinion, man?
Yeah, I'll kind of play devil's advocate. Like, even if you got banned on Destiny, but you had the physical copy, like, you're not going to be able to play the game anyways. So, like, all of these games now, like, require so much, like, like we've been talking about, like network and like cloud saves and all these other things. So like if you're getting banned or something like that, like it doesn't matter if you have the physical or digital, like you just won't be able to play. So like in that aspect, like that point of the conversation just doesn't even apply. It really just comes down to preference at that point. And I think that's just the way how gaming is moving towards, like, you know, and has moved towards, is purely online and purely like cloud saves and all this stuff. So, and I know you can like physically save stuff onto like your PlayStations or, you know, your Xbox, or, you know, I'm sure you can do it on your PC too. I'm just not as familiar with that, but so like, I think that's just part of how gaming is shaped and is shaping. So, but I mean, you know, if the power goes out, I love physical books, man. Like I can't read on the Kindle and I can't like listen to an audiobook. Like it drives me nuts. I have to like physically like open it and everything and stuff. So like there are some things that will always be physical in my life, and then there are some things that I can leave digital, and that's fine because I can live without those things, and that's okay. I'm okay with, you know, even though I spent time in like Destiny and stuff, like it's a hobby and it's a want, it's not a need. So, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add, Zombie Pops?
No, I think that covers it.
Yeah, that's a good topic, man. We've had these talks before. I think Gen X Gaming was on. We had this problem about, we were talking about the physical versus physical versus digital, and if you know Sergeant McCluskey with Gen X 30 and Still Gaming, his podcast, he's very set in his ways when it comes to certain things. He's Gen X like me, and well, both of them are actually. So that's why we get along so well, is because we all come from the same, we're all cut from the same cloth, so to speak. But no, man, that's always a good topic, man. I appreciate you bringing it to the table tonight, Zombie Pops. And again, if you have any comments on this story, physical versus digital, and where is it going? Where do you think we're going to be going with all this, guys? I mean, what's the future look like? I can't imagine right now what it would look like. So, good story. Thank you, Zombie Pops. All right. I'm next, right after this.
Hey, Guardian. Whenever I listen to my favorite podcasts, there's one thing that annoys me the most. You're really getting into the flow of the conversation when out of nowhere...
Are you tired of stains? Do you have grass, dirt, oil, and grease, or even that accidental wine stain? Yikes! Don't put up with stubborn stains ever again. Get Blammo, your one solution for stains. We put this shirt in a tub of motor oil. Surely this is ruined, I say. But not with Blammo. One capful and presto, no more stains. Get your 1 gallon container today for only $99.99. But wait, what's that? No, say it isn't so. Are you sure? Okay, now just $19.99, but wait, there's more. Now you get this super duper magnifying glass so you can see how quickly these stains disappear. Call now, don't wait. Operators are standing by. Warning, not safe for pets, humans, or any living things on this earth, but call now.
Podcast ads really disrupt the natural flow of a great conversation. But thanks to our Patreon community, we don't accept outside advertising or promotion. So sit back and enjoy the show. Oh, and by the way, if you would like to become a part of listener-supported podcasts like this one, go to patreon.com/supportguardiandowncast, or just visit our website at guardiandowncast.com. You'll also have access to over 2 years of audio and video episodes just for our Patreon community. Take care, and later, Guardian.
And then there was one. The story I brought to the Roundtable tonight, and this has been really heavily on my mind. For those of you who have listened to this podcast over the years, you know that I have always had high hopes and predictions for the next Destiny game, right? So today, I wanted to kind of create a vision for a possible scenario idea that came to me in a dream. We'll just say that's how it came. I know it's another Gator hot take, but I've really been thinking about this for some time now. I've listened to player feedback on the socials and in our Discord community. I've also heard from other fellow Destiny content creators out there. And it seems like if Bungie is going to make another Destiny game, they kind of have to put their fortune teller hats on and predict what gaming will even look like in a few years by the time this new Destiny 3 game arrives, right? It has to be something new and fresh. So I think the honeymoon phase now is over for Final Shape, and I think players are kind of settling into whatever games they really like to do in their routines every night after work or whatever. I think it's time to talk about the future of the franchise. So it's apparent, in my opinion, let me preface this, everything I'm saying here is my opinion. I don't think the episodes are going to carry Destiny 2 too far into the future. I really don't. I think everyone, it's kind of across the socials that everyone really wants a fresh restart of the franchise. And I know there's some out there that don't. And we'll go around the horn. I know I'll hear your guys' opinions here because this could be a very hot topic. It's known around the community that I only play Destiny. But there's 2 games in all the years that I played Destiny that were successful at prying me away from it. The first is Elden Ring, and the second is Starfield. So the topic I'm bringing to the roundtable tonight is what will it take for Bungie to be back on top again as the industry leader in online gaming like they did in 2014? I mean, do you guys remember back that, what it looked like? Destiny arrived in 2014, the unique user interface, the art style, the action MMO feel of the game. I think it was something the industry needed back then. I was so tired of the usual online shooters back then. A lot of studios tried to go up against the king, which was Call of Duty. I spent nearly a decade playing all of the iterations of Call of Duty since COD 4 when my son first introduced me to it. But Call of Duty really never has changed the base game. And it would either be a flashback or a flash forward or basically the same game with just like a fresh new wallpaper, right? I think the consensus among the Destiny community is that we need a fresh start. I wanted to share first what things about Starfield and Elden Ring drew me away from my usual Destiny 2 game time. What things really impressed me about the 2 games? And then second, using these examples that I'm pulling out, what I think would describe the perfect Destiny 3 game in my eyes. And then we'll see how that jives with you guys around the table. So first, what was it about Elden Ring that made me log out of Destiny 2 and play it? The first thing I noticed is after a very small, simple introduction telling us the basic story of Elden Ring, they literally just dropped you right into the world. No explanations, no rails, no story missions, and certainly no mercy. The second thing I noticed immediately was all of the intricacies of the game. Once you open up the menus, you soon realize that there was a lot to do in this game. And other than a few light little hints in the UI, you're on your own. This was something I'm not used to from playing Destiny. There were spells, there were crafting, lots of materials, lots of currencies, some basic melee weapons that you could upgrade. It was crazy. The third thing I noticed was the immense size of the gaming world. So much area to be discovered. My mind was just overwhelmed how much I was scrolling through the overview map, and it was crazy, man. Just where I had started, that's all I saw. Everything else was cloudy. Reminded me of the old games I used to play that had that kind of setup where as soon as you open an area, then you can see and get a little mini map of the area. I really like that. Fourth, the beautiful realism and art style. This is something I also love with the Destiny franchise. Destiny has their own art style and a certain feel, it's a Destiny game, right? I realized that I could walk anywhere I wanted to. And I began doing what I love to do whenever I start a big game. I started farming materials. Cause hey, I soon realized I was going to need a lot of them to craft, enhance my character traits going forward. And that's the one thing I hate is not having enough raw materials to do what I want to do in the moment, whatever it's crafting or whatever I need to do. I spent many a night just collecting little red flowers just because I needed them to work up something in my character traits or my stamina or whatever I decided to use it for. But it was a single player game. It was all on me. Once I had enough materials to feel confident going forward, I decided to advance into these areas and just see let's see what I can run into, It only took 100 steps for me to hit my first enemies, only to get flattened on my back with a swift sword while being surrounded by human soldiers. Do you know how humiliating it is after being a literal powerhouse of a guardian just 30 minutes ago playing Destiny? dang, no mercy. And I kind of loved it, to be honest. So once I got the feel for the combat, the spells, the defense mechanisms from trial and error, I put my big boy pants on and I decided to jump into my first mini boss. For those of you who played the game, it's the first boss you need to push through a bridge area to continue forward into the world and open it up. My first encounter, bam, flat on my butt, sent right back to the checkpoint. It was like the game was saying to me, yeah, good scrub. It took me 25 tries to finally figure out how to defeat this first boss. And once I did finally win, the feeling of accomplishment was refreshing. And it now progressed the map area too. So I miss those days like that. I used to play coin-operated boss fight games in the 80s. Don't at me. Trial and error can be frustrating, but it was fun as hell. And it ate up a lot of quarters too. I think I spent half my paychecks in those arcades. But for some of you that are laughing at me right now, just know I'm a shooter guy, not a sword and shield guy, okay? So laugh it up. I spent hours upon hours collecting materials, resources. There were seemingly no caps or limits to any of this stuff, so I could make myself stronger for the next big boss fight, which was very challenging and unforgiving. You lose, you go back to the start. And recently I heard from the new DLC, The Shadow of the Erdtree, you could only play it when you defeated one of the end bosses in the first game. What a refreshingly badass move, FromSoft. I still play Elden Ring today, but very slowly. I own the game, and I can come back to it whenever I want, whenever I feel like or need to. It's a standalone game. It doesn't need to rely on a player base to populate the world. It's my side hobby game, and I can always pick it up wherever I left off anytime. No pressure, no FOMO, no getting left behind by a constantly moving storyline. I like that. All right, so what was it about Starfield that made me log out of Destiny and try it? Starfield tried to sell this online world experience when I first saw it, that reveal stream, that Bethesda put out before it was launching. Man, what they showed in that live stream was fantastic. It's kind of hard to believe. And I think technology kind of held them back. I mean, Bethesda was promising this fantastic and really, really dynamic, do anything you want gaming experience. And there were lots of really cool ideas that I loved about the game, even if it kind of ended in a whimper. Sometimes I wonder if Bungie actually watches Bethesda and these other players in industry trying to create this online sci-fi world. I just wonder if they're just looking, just watching. Anyway, the first thing I loved about Starfield, when you set up your initial character, you had many different character types. Once I looked over the immense skill tree paths of what I could actually do, and then once I realized what these actual skill points or skills were, I chose my character. I think I started as the Freestar Collective Settler. I was just going to wander around and discover stuff, right? Kind of a low key thing. But I also had a choice of different sub traits I could pick from that maybe I was curious about. But the thing was, it didn't lock me into a certain play style. As I found out later in my gameplay, I became something totally different. I mean, I became a hitman. I'm a settler. Now I'm a hitman? Working for a crime syndicate? What the hell's going on here? All right. The second thing I loved was the creativity of what I could do in the game. I could buy a house on a given planet, but there were costs, repercussions of owning the home, kind of like, real life. I could build and create all kinds of spaceships, even take them into space and battle other ships, which, full disclosure, they were NPCs. They were bots. They weren't other players, as far as I don't think so. But, not only could I customize my ship, I could create my own sleeping quarters, several internal rooms I could shuffle around inside. It was badass. I actually felt invested in the game and whatever small part of it I was playing. There were all kinds of side missions and a total open world. Even the planets you could explore were randomly generated, so where nothing was ever predictable. Sadly, we know Bethesda really bit off a lot and we found its limitations pretty quick. But what a great first start at creating a space adventure. I really loved the time I played it. I spent 8 hours one time just rummaging through just an off-site space base. I was going through trash cans. I was lifting up boxes. I found guns here. I found ammo here. It was really, really cool. And, I could just spend my time doing whatever I wanted. Did you guys ever play these games? Starfield or Elden Ring? What do you guys think? I mean, Do you guys agree? Were these kind of things that you enjoyed in the game if you did play them?
Yeah, so I spent actually quite a bit of time in Elden Ring. I'm trying to pull it up and see how many hours. I have about 200 hours in Elden Ring logged for a single player game. That's pretty good.
That is.
You know, I've played through the whole thing several times. I haven't bought the DLC yet. I might at some point. But yeah, I mean, FromSoft does a very good job of sort of just putting you out in their beautifully crafted world and saying, you figure it out. Make your path. And, you know, you can, like, spend 200 hours on a single playthrough of the game. There's that much to do.
Yeah.
The thing that I love to make the analogy for Elden Ring is when you get in those boss fights, like you're talking about, it becomes this ballet of understanding the bosses. You have to then learn their moves. And games like Destiny have done that in very, very little sort of micro doses, like with Rolk and even with the new raid where they're saying, okay, here's this fight, move, learn what the boss is doing, understand, predict, adapt. And Elden Ring does that very well. They make you interlock with this boss, understand him. You won't beat him until you've mastered his moveset. That's what I think is beautiful about Elden Ring.
Yeah.
I've done co-op playthroughs. I've done by myself playthroughs. And the beauty of it is at some point you can then start build crafting. It does get into those aspects of, okay, do you want to be the guy who throws around this gigantic hammer and hits everything once and they die? Do you want to be a mage? Do you want to build into faith? And now you're a healer. You're supporting your team, whatever co-op people you're playing with, that type of stuff. You can do that in Elden Ring. And that's what I think they, I don't know that that's as applicable in previous FromSoft games. I've only played Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring, and Dark Souls 3 I only played one time through, but I thought, they really let you sort of do what you like to do. That's always been my thing, is be the support guy. Yeah. So I went straight to faith in Elden Ring. That was my immediate instinct. And yeah, Elden Ring, as many people probably know, came out right around Witch Queen. So I was deep in Destiny at the time, but like 2 months later, oh man, I was not putting down Elden Ring for anything. Like Destiny could have been deleted at that point, but it was sort of and after I was done with Destiny, I definitely put a lot of time in Elden Ring.
Did you guys, any other guys play it?
Yeah, I played through Elden Ring once. I only had like 50 hours in the game, so it's not a ton, but it was enough for my initial playthrough. And I just love, and just to kind of reiterate what Technickal said, like, I just love FromSoft games in general. Like, there's so much fun. There's so much variety that you can do in them. Like, I've played through Dark Souls 3 a couple times, played through Dark Souls 1, played a little bit of Bloodborne. So I played, a couple of their games overall. And Elden Ring, like, just with its exploration and like so many like things, it was a good break from Destiny at the time, especially after just playing pretty much nonstop. I pretty much only had one hiatus during Season of Arrivals, but every other season, like, I've been in Destiny, and it was just a good time to like step away for a couple weeks, a couple months, and just play something else. And I actually repicked it, Elden Ring back up again, because I was like, I just had this itch to do a second playthrough and just do something different. I'm still here playing Destiny, but I love those FromSoft games. They're so much fun. And, for me, who likes challenging things, to feel that accomplishment of like, oh my gosh, I finally got through that boss. There's such a rewarding feeling that comes out of that you just don't get in a lot of other games. And so that, to me, has always been like a huge drive. Even if I'm stuck on a boss for a couple days or weeks. Like, it's nice to finally come in, beat it, and then it's like, oh my gosh, finally, I get the rest of the game to go through. So, yeah.
Did you, Zombie, did you play Starfield or Elden Ring?
I actually played both.
Oh, okay, good.
I didn't play Elden Ring too much.
Okay.
I just found it took too much of my time, not enough reward.
Yeah,
for it. Yeah. But Starfield, like you were saying, customizing those ships, amazing. Going to different planets, amazing. It was also very nice because I could pause it, go to work, come back, and pick it up right where I left off.
Exactly.
You know, it was a fun game. It took me away from Destiny for a little bit, but not much. I think I couldn't tell you how many hours I got in it.
It's all right.
But I played through most of it. Probably beat it, I guess, if you can beat it. But it was a fun game. It gave me more variety.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a little different thing than Destiny. So
good deal.
That's what I enjoyed about it.
Well, before I tell you what my ideal Destiny 3 game is, let's look at what some problems are right now. Why is Destiny kind of getting a little stale, right? I mean, other than we played this 10 years, right? This isn't a bash on a Destiny. Don't get me wrong, it isn't. But I'm trying to think like Bungie here. Bungie is saying, okay, we're not going to have this game out till 2026, 2027, hell, maybe even 2028. What is going to be hot by the time that date rolls around? We have to time this game where it's in sync with what everyone is loving to do at the time. That can't be easy to do. So let's look at this. Let's look at some things here. Just a few things I noticed about Bungie. The first thing, power creep's a thing, man. Power creep is really bad right now in Destiny. We are so powerful. And now you have, this new quality of life where the strongest person in your fire team will bring you right up within 5 power. So you don't have to worry about even powering up your Guardian now if you have a friend that does do it. So another thing I really perked my ears up is when the Paleheart came out, they made it a single player instance. This really perked my ears up, and I have a feeling that they may be testing this because every world you go to, there's other players in the world. And I was looking at the real-time playtime chart here for from Charlemagne, the Charlemagne bot. This is real time. What do you think the number one thing is that people do in this game? I think you all know.
Probably patrolling around the Paleheart.
It's patrol. Patrols is 25% of the player base. That's a chunk of people, man. You know what's second? The story. 17% of the people are playing the story right now. Right there. That is what, math's hard. 42%? No. 42% of the player base is playing by themselves. The offensives. Okay, this is the seasonal activities, right? 11%. Raids? Sorry guys, 9%. Nightfalls? Sorry soccer, 8%. Trials of Osiris? 7. Crucible? 7. Strikes? 6. Dungeons? 5. Lost sectors? This breaks my heart. 1% of the player base plays lost sectors. I love farming lost sectors. But I got to thinking, Bungie's seeing all this real-time data. They have to be thinking, I know this is the friend game, right, Deej? You told us it's the friend game a long time ago. But it seems to me, if you're looking at this activity right here, and I have to kind of credit this to maybe that our player base is aging. You know, we got jobs, we got kids. We only have a couple hours a night to play now. We need more flexible gaming sessions. So I hate to say it, planning a raid, planning a GM is maybe not as important as maybe cranking out that last story of the, or jumping in and soloing the activity, or jumping in to go around the patrols and farm Glimmer. I got some videos about that, by the way. Shameless plug. But power creep's a problem. The episodes, the story-driven episodes, just for me aren't moving. They're not moving a needle for me. And Bungie has been stated publicly of saying they want to go away from story-driven content. But you know why they want to get away from that? Because new players come in and go, where do I even start? what's happened? What happened in the past that I missed? I can't even play the original campaign, I can't play the Red War campaign right now. That's how Destiny 2 started. I can't even jump in and play that right now. So people jump in and they go, I don't even know what's going on. I was watching a video today, another new player video, just jumped in, never know anything about Destiny, but it's on sale for $25. Let's jump in and learn it. And the guy's going, I have no clue what any of these people are in here. I just like shooting the guns. Shooting the guns is fun. I don't know what any of this means, who these people are or anything, but seems like fun. $25, why not? And they don't realize how much content they just bought for $25. But it got me thinking, how would Bungie hedge their bets to keep this franchise moving in the future? Because I think episodes is I think it's just a place marker right now. I think it's just to buy time while they're developing the next game. So how are they thinking ahead of the game industry? And let's not forget, Sony is a major partner with Bungie right now. I know they own them, but Sony, I think they just released their Concord beta. I think Sony's getting a little bit butthurt and realizing, this live game service, a little hard to get into. 2,300 concurrent players in the beta? That's pretty bad for a brand new game. And I've heard people that played it had the greatest time playing it. And they even had Bungie devs that even helped develop this, that used to work for Bungie. So Sony, I think, might be motivated here to do what they have to and adapt in the future to keep their player base and keep people invested in the Destiny game. And this is where usually Hazel goes, motherfucker, please. But I just got me thinking, what would Destiny 3 in my eyes be? If we let's fast forward to 2026. Let's just say it's fall of 2026. Let's get back to the fall release, right? When everybody's releasing games. Let's compete with the big boys, right? So close your eyes. Imagine playing through the last episode of Frontiers. We're flying through the space with the Dreadnought, and we hit this wormhole. We warp into an entirely different universe. We then see a cutscene where the Dreadnought malfunctions from that warp, and we, at the very last moment, we take an escape pod out of desperation, grabbing whatever we can and jumping on the escape pod right before the Dreadnought explodes in space, only to crash down onto a totally unknown planet. We get out, we try to figure out what to do next, only to be left to our own devices to survive. We have a single laser pistol, the armor on our back, and our solitary ghost that always goes with us. That's it. We wander around, we set up a temporary camp. Once we do, the remainder of the game and the UI lights up and we begin the game. We have our world map, only to find that it only illuminates that little area we just landed, nothing more. As we explore new parts of the map, there's these alien creatures, big and small, that start attacking us in this harsh environment. We get a few small objectives on the screen, like collect 200 amphipods or kill 50 enemies. And as you complete each objective, it opens up to another objective, which kind of guides you along in the game. And you're getting XP, you're getting maybe some rewards, whatever. I won't get too deep in the woods there. But until you have all the basics to start playing the game and continue forward, you have these little objectives that pop up and help you out. No going to a vendor to get bounties. I know that kills me to say, but all this happens on a single planet as a single player game. We soon realize that we have 3 different perspectives: third person, over the shoulder, and first person, all with a toggle of a directional arrow on our controller. Got that from Starfield, by the way. It was a great thing to have in that game. As we move forward, our enemies become bigger than those small little creatures, and once we kill them, they start dropping weapons, they start dropping materials, and we of course get XP. This is how we get stronger to face even bigger enemies and bigger bosses, which lurk in these hidden areas, never expecting them to jump out and attack us. Once our XP starts to mount, we unlock new perks, new mods for our weapons, our armor. XP can also be given from in-world objectives getting completed, like I mentioned earlier, that upgrade once you complete earlier ones. You get my point here. You could even insert the new Pathfinder system here as well for even more XP. Guns and armor that we pick up in the game, all craftable, all of them. You like the look at this weapon? You want to make it yours? You want to make it super strong? There it is. You have the path. You know what you got to collect to make it stronger, whatever. All craftable. So we decide to what? We're going to farm materials the next night we play. We're going to build our character traits that we chose at the beginning when we set up camp. That's from Starfield. Setting up your traits ahead of time before you make your character, right? We realize that the first space age laser rifle we get from an enemy feels kind of like the weapons from the Destiny game and Destiny 2, so we retain that awesome gun feel, right? From the previous games that we've always loved. As we go further into this massive planetary surface, we find mini dungeons, lost sectors, all throughout the world, even crazier looking mini bosses that protect them, and once you defeat them, their treasure is yours. Again, weapons, mods, materials, currencies, whatever. We find that we can farm these areas for more stuff, but maybe with diminishing returns, so we're not there all day doing it. The ultimate goals are the bosses in each domain. They're fierce, unforgiving, and will kill you in one blow sometimes. With each major boss defeated, larger areas of the map open up until you eventually unlock all of it. And that's where the fun begins. Once the entire planet is unlocked, it opens up a matchmaking for large community events, where a super boss is trying to regain control of the planet. And we as Guardians must work together to defeat them, like those real-time events in Helldivers 2, right? Preserve democracy? As far as bosses, Bungie has a fantastic art team with vivid imaginations, but I'll give you a few ideas for free. How about a boss that is a giant 25-foot mechanical robot? All it wants to do is run around and squash you like a bug. You shoot various parts of it to weaken it until it finally drops to the ground. How about this for an idea? We have a boss made out of rock and stone and other materials it finds around their environment that they live in. They have this unique ability to affix these materials to itself, making itself taller and larger and bigger. And the objective is to keep firing at it, to knock all these materials back off. And eventually, as we get successful knocking them all off, and they're about our size, they break out a laser sword, and now it's hand-to-hand combat time. And we start having to worry about parrying, striking, and all the optimal stuff, right, to finally defeat it. Or let's get a little creepy. Let's say we have hive-like creatures that are ghost-like, but they can teleport behind you and strike you. And as you try to swing or shoot at them, they vaporize and they reappear somewhere else. Minotaurs, probably, like those. Or fallen creatures with multiple arms and weapons all shooting at you with guns in their hands. Remember Men in Black? The types of bosses are limited only by the human imagination. That's a game I like to play. Now, as far as battle passes, vendors, side missions, all of that stuff, you get the gist here. Let's bring back a spider-like vendor where, if we're short on a material, we can trade it for materials we don't have enough of. Bring Spider back, Bungie. You can have battle passes and have the battle passes prestige. Every time you reset them at 100, you earn an emblem, a reward, or some kind of prestige emblem or something. Bungie could create different factions to join and have the ability to earn respect with them by doing certain activities and objectives on the planet. They could offer weapons and armors as well, like Starfield did. Quality of life stuff. Keep the prismatic subclasses. Keep adding perks and new DLCs. Speaking of which, future major DLCs will open up as new planets with totally new challenges and enemies, but maybe take a page from FromSoft and have access to the new DLC planet once you beat the last boss on the current world. I think Bungie has their future in the palm of their hands. And don't forget that they now have a powerful partner in Sony. They can make it happen. They have extra human capital and brain power there. But that's just my opinion. I mean, what do you guys think? Go ahead, you can say it. What Hazel always says.
I mean, I'm not going to go that far, but I'll let Z0mb1eP0ps go that far first before I chime in.
Motherfucker, please. No, I think you're definitely...
I think I had a fever dream. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I think you're trying to take the best of all the games, and that would be cool. But I don't think Bungie has it in them.
This is where I play it's not going to happen, man.
Yeah, in a dream world, maybe.
Yeah,
great ideas. I mean, they didn't have the balls to keep the witness alive and go that route.
No comment.
So, so I think, I don't know, it would be a very, very bold move on their part if they did something like that.
Well, one reason I got so crazy with this is I had to think about, Bungie has to be thinking about this kind of stuff going forward. If they produce just another Destiny game in 2026 or 2028 or whenever it is, I've already played that game. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, what you described is like Diablo 4 to me, almost to a T. You clear this area, you get these mini dungeons, as you're calling them, mini dungeons for lost sectors. You get rewards from them. You clear the area, you fight this mini boss that sort of progresses you to the next act. So that's how Diablo does it. You go to the next act.
That's a top
that
down
opens
game, right?
up these
Diablo 4. It's like a top down. Yeah.
Yep. So it's a little different. Obviously with this one, it would be, still in the Destiny fashion of, shooter, but at that point you open up, you can go do these, public event type things where you meet a bunch of other people, you fight this local boss, you're in instances where, you get grouped up with 12 people or something. You kill them, you get rewards. It's sort of Diablo's bread and butter, I'll call it, but it's very similar to what Destiny does. They have public events. You get match made up with people in an instance, and you do it that way. Granted, Diablo does a lot of things the Diablo way. Seasonal resets, things like that, which I don't think Destiny would follow. I think that would be a bad idea for Destiny in general. But, sort of not getting too into it, the next Destiny thing, we'll say that, whether it's D3 or some new iteration of Destiny 2. Unfortunately, I don't think episodes are going away anytime soon. I think Frontiers is going to be more episodes.
I think it is too. That's why I
think Yep. I think they've poured a lot into, calling it episodes. They've changed the battle pass or season pass, model. They've changed how they're rolling out content, and that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
But, I don't think episodes are going away, unfortunately. But again, I like to reel it back and say, every season that's ever launched with a expansion has been a little lackluster. I mean, it's got to be, you got to be a little bit realistic with it. I'm waiting to see what they do with episode 2. If it's still the similar, sort of lacklusterness that, Echoes is doing. Yeah, I'm in agreement. Episodes are kind of lame. They're kind of the same thing, just renamed. But, we've had some banger seasons in the past.
We have. And
if we get an episode where they come out and they kill it, they give us everything we ever thought we would get in an episode, as they're calling it, I'm all for it. But it's got to be reeled back in and understood, season of, what was the one that launched with the Lightfall?
I think it was Defiance.
Right? There you go. It wasn't good. We can all agree.
I don't even remember playing it.
Exactly.
I know I played it all, but I don't remember it.
Whatever launched with Witch Queen, I don't remember what that one was either. And, clearly we don't remember them because they're not memorable.
That was the card.
Everything.
16, wasn't it? Was that third season? Might have been the third season.
Which was 3. Or which was Life. I'm getting all lost. But regardless, sure. I
get your point.
It's hard to remember those first seasons that launch with an expansion because they're not memorable. And I think that's on purpose from Bungie. They know people are going to be still getting over the honeymoon phase of the expansion, so they have a little bit of leniency on
I agree.
Not putting out the best stuff. I think episodes are here to stay for a little bit. I am interested to see how they ultimately decide to take the series because I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard.
Somebody's like, Soccer's like, where do I go from here?
Right. And obviously, we're talking about it because we love the game,
Absolutely.
Right? We've been playing it for 10 years.
Yeah.
And I think, the main reason from coming from D1 to D2 was an engine change, right? They rebuilt some of the engine and whatnot. So does Destiny really need to do that right now? I don't think so. I think we are getting into an era of D3, especially with Prismatic. It is kind of like this conclusion of Light and Dark. Like, we've become the masters of it, right? And like that's a part of like the end goal. But I think it can lead into some ways of this feeling of a D3, like changing enemy density, changing how we approach subclasses, like that sort of stuff, like, is what changed from D1 to D2. So, and we're already kind of getting some of that with this Prismatic stuff in this era of Destiny. So for me, I don't see the purpose in running a D3. Plus, everyone who came from D1 to D2, all their stuff was lost. You didn't carry anything over. And now we've been playing Destiny 2 for 7 years.
Yeah. And
people were already upset over 3 years. You've now doubled that time, plus more. So, like, how are people going to feel about that? Especially after just giving us back all of those sunset weapons.
That was my next question to you guys, yeah. So you just answered it.
So, like, I don't think we're going to see a D3 for a long time, if we ever do. I think it's going to turn into, what you always say, Gator, this Destiny Online version, right? Where it's just constantly evolving and stuff.
Bring it all back. Bring everything back.
Yeah. So I think that's where we're going with some of this stuff. I don't necessarily see a need for D3, if that makes sense.
Sure. Okay. Well, what do you guys think about this, the fact that they made Paleheart single player instance? Do you think that's where they may go, being that they're seeing this raw data about what most people are doing? I mean, almost half the player base doesn't even play with a group. That's the part I had a hard time with my concept here, was how do you integrate GMs and raids? And that's why I like that's the one thing I got to give credit to with Helldivers 2. When everyone is playing that game because they have a common mission, a common purpose to defeat these bosses that they throw in the world real time, which Destiny did that one time before. When the ship flew over the tower in real time, that freaked me out. That was awesome. They can do it. I don't know how easy that is to do, but do you think they would benefit from doing something like Helldivers 2 is doing right now with a game master that introduces these things in real time in the future? Or is that just pie in the sky?
Well, I answer the first part of, the single player focused, Paleheart, does do that. They put you in there on your own. They let you do your thing uninterrupted. From my perspective, if it goes single player, in some aspects, I think they know better than to make the whole thing single player.
I agree there.
I think you lose a lot of people. You may gain a lot of people. It's sort of that trade-off, but I think it's always been a fire team. You always, even when you're talking to your vanguards, they're always talking about the Vanguard fire team. Cade, now Crow, Zavala, and Ikora as a fire team. I think it goes against sort of the principles of Destiny to then go single player. I think it could be interesting. I think they would benefit doing a single player from a story perspective, because the story right now is like you do a mission and then go free roam and do this bullshit thing for 5 minutes.
I think it was like Nessus. Some podcast called it Nessus chores.
Yeah, basically, it's like do a mission, which is you get some lore from it, but then it's like, you go mess around for 5 minutes, and half the time is you loading into the destination. It's lame. I think everyone can sort of agree with it. I think they would benefit going single player there. The whole game master concept, I do like. I played Helldivers for quite a bit when it launched. Don't play it as much now, but I still have friends and my brother that play it frequently. I think the game master adds, like you said, that unified goal, bring the community a little closer together towards that effort. But, we'll have to see sort of how Helldivers continues to evolve it, because after the first couple times, it's like, it's kind of just, it's a unique thing that kind of gets old. All it's doing is it's focusing which faction you're fighting. Are you fighting automatons, or are you fighting bugs? Because all they're doing is they're saying this planet is under attack. And then maybe once every 5 or so, they go in and they say, well, if you liberate this planet, you get this new grenade. You get this new stratagem, as they call it. You get a new rocket launcher, which is unique. It's a good, fun way to push the community to earn in-game stuff. It's not just handed to you. But at the same time, Bungie's done that with community events. They always give it to you. They don't let you fail.
You're right. You're right about that. They do move the goalposts.
But the Game Master is a cool concept. I think Helldivers does it really well.
Okay. See, the reason I came up with this single player start to Destiny is because what is the one thing that prevents players from coming to this game? I don't even know what's going on here. But if they know they're going to crash land onto a planet, and then they have to go discover stuff, and as they're discovering stuff, Bungie starts throwing you a bone, That's the reason I really thought that would land good, because everyone starts at the same place. And then once you've got enough of the game completed on the planet, and that's where the Game Master system I thought would be a good idea for thinking in the future here, more like a community event. I don't know how much longevity that would have, but the one thing that I loved about Final Shape is I said, I don't want to play with anybody. I'm not being antisocial. I just want to experience the story and the campaign by myself. I want to challenge myself to solo legend everything, which I did. The last Iconoclasm was not easy. Took a few tries, but it was challenging. It was fun. But the fact, going back to what you said about Elden Ring, Technickal, when I finally beat that first boss, and it didn't give you any hints, didn't give you any help. Once you finally beat that boss, I flash back right to finally knocking out Mike Tyson in Punch-Out in the arcade back in 1985. I flashed right back to that moment and said, wow, I miss that feeling. And when they just throw everything at you and throw everything to you, and that coming from that approach to bring players in, the fact that we're throwing everything at you, there's still no value in the game because people don't understand what's going on. So that's where I figured starting fresh, crashing into the planet. And I still think Frontiers will be, I think everyone's been, that's no great idea. I think everyone's been talking about we're going to get in the Dreadnought and fly it around somewhere and maybe go to a different universe. That's nothing new. People have been talking about that already. But the fact that you have to escape that vestige that you're comfortable with and used to. Man, I spent so many hours in Taken King just scrounging around the dead Dreadnought by myself, farming, getting those damn calcified fragments. It took forever. All these really fun challenges that I did. Those memories, those are vivid. I remember those days, but I can't tell you what happened. Well, okay, Regicide was good, but for the most part, the story mission, I don't remember a lot about it. All I remember is all the grinding I did to get the things that I wanted in the game. Sorry, we're blocking you out here, Soccer. What do you think about all this, man? Do you think, Bungie has stated that they want to get away from story-driven content. So that's the reason I came up with this idea. But, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I think it's hard because, if you want to move away from story-driven content, I think the opposite way is you have to get more multiplayer, right? Because single player to me screams story-driven content. Okay. And I think it's hard to turn. It'd be like saying, okay, we're bringing out World of Warcraft 2, and everyone's going to start, all single player. It's like you can't do that to a game that's been live service and ever evolving, to those types of games, because people are going to be like, that makes no sense. That takes away from its core and its identity of the game. I get what you're saying though. I understand this feeling of like, I have no idea what's going on. So like, I just need to like take it slow, take it by myself and figure it out. And I think that's great, but I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can restart that from this game that's been a live service game for 10 years.
Okay.
Like, I think there's just too much to take away. And it removes kind of its identity from that. So
that is a good point, Soccer. I may be overreaching here, and I tend to do that with my hot takes. I tend to reach way further than what Bungie actually ends up doing. You know, remember I said that the witness wasn't going to die? All right.
Okay.
I was wrong. I'll admit it. I'll own up to it. I thought that would have been a badass move by Bungie, though, saying, hey, you didn't kill him in time. Sorry. Now you got to deal with him later down the road, you know? So anybody else? Any more comments on what I've stated here? Because I'm trying to kind of defend my point, and the reason I had this fever dream, well, I splooged all this all over the screen here, but I just got to writing one night. I felt like I was writing a novel. Anybody else, closing thoughts? Or maybe closing thoughts on what you think the future of Bungie will be, the future of Destiny will be. Is it just going to go away after Frontiers and whittle away, or is Bungie going to do something brand new? I'm just curious what you guys think.
I think the Final Shape did a really good job of sort of approaching that single player aspect, because the campaign of the Final Shape was very linear. You know, most of the campaigns are pretty linear, but they make you go do sort of side things and figure it out. Whereas in this one, from what I recall, it's pretty much run through each mission. When you're done, which is nice. Yeah. I like that. It was a good change. It made moving through the campaigns very, very smooth, very fun to replay. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of filler material needed, which I think that sort of does help your argument that they know how to approach single player. Bungie's did all the Halo games. They know single player. Sure. We're not going to argue that. Okay. They know how to do it. It's just whether or not Destiny and the gaming community as a whole sort of is ready to accept that single player again.
Okay. That's kind of the feeling I had. I felt like, okay, Final Shape's out. Everyone gets that done. And then finally they start looking at dual Destiny. Or then, of course, what happens when you finish the campaign, you do the prerequisite missions, it opens up the Paleheart. And it's all like jump in and discover by yourself. Nobody's going to go around and shoot the gun at your feet and get in your face and try to grief you while you're on the map. It's all you, baby. And I think, I don't know. I think people have said that Destiny is the, what is it that they say, the retirement home of shooters? I don't know if I agree with that completely, but I think our player base is aging, and I think having that flexibility to just jump in and pick away at it. Let's try to work on this boss tonight. And that's the one thing I loved about Elden Ring. And that just stuck in my head. What if they made that a space shooter situation? I'm not copying everything that Elden Ring did, but that just seemed like that would be a really cool way to start the game fresh. The activities, playing with friends and stuff, I think that would come after you unlock the initial part. But I just don't know how they get there with that. I'm not a developer, so that's where I had problems trying to connect the current activities in Destiny into this reimagined start to Destiny 3. So, Z0mb1eP0ps, Soccer, anybody else before we close up tonight?
No, good here.
All right. So my fever dream's over. Back down to planet Earth. I just appreciate you guys humbling me on this and hearing me out, because I have these little crazy imagination. Something sparks it, and I just start writing. So I appreciate you guys hanging in there tonight about it. So what do you guys think? Yeah, you guys listening right now, what do you guys think? Where's Destiny going? Are we going to do more episodes for a while? Is Destiny going to come in 2026, or is it going to be 2028, or is it never coming? Let me know. Guardian Downcast, GDC, feedback channel in our Discord, and that's discord.gg/Guardian Downcast. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming on the Roundtable tonight. That was a lot of fun. I miss doing this.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun too. Thanks for having me on again, man.
Thank you,
always appreciate coming to hang out.
Thank you. Thank you, Technickal. Appreciate it, man.
Totally agree. It was good conversations.
And thank you, Z0mb1eP0ps. Thanks for coming on tonight, man.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, a lot of good conversation.
Hello, everybody. You are listening to Jealous Gaming on Guardian Downcast.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed this month's roundtable, and sorry if I hit the copium a little too much tonight. I do feel a little lightheaded, by the way. Anyway. But what do y'all think, man? What do y'all think about our topics this week? We talked about physical versus digital content, just to discuss the difficulty settings in Destiny and other games for that matter. And what does a Destiny 3 look like? Let us know. Our Discord's discord.gg/GuardianDownCast, or visit our website, GuardianDownCast.com. Everything's there, guys. You can leave a voicemail, comment, shoot us an email with your comment. However you decide, we want to hear from you. Special thanks again to Z0mb1eP0ps, iSoccerogi, and Technickal for bringing their topics to the roundtable this week. You can find Technickal at Technickal Gaming on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Technickal Gaming. You can find iSoccerogi on Twitch as well. It's twitch.tv/RealSoccerogi. I have their contact information in the show notes down below. But do you have a topic you would like to bring to us in a future roundtable episode? If so, DM me in the Discord and I'll put you on the list and you could possibly be on the next roundtable. You can find me at Todd the Gator. That's 2 D's and GATR just about everywhere. And all the ways to contact me are down in our show notes down below as well. I also have another podcast, Destiny Help Desk, where I talk about a singular topic in the Destinyverse. So check that out if you haven't already. We talked about the new Pathfinder system on the latest episode with my buddy Ronan Redlion. Thanks to our Patreon community for giving back to the show and helping create a listener-supported podcast like this one. I have a Patreon shout-out for a new Gatorade patron tonight. Shout out to MJT2 for becoming another member of our Guardian Downcast Patreon community. Thank you, sir. Thanks to all our Dungeon Champion patrons, and that would be Raffi, Technickal, Wicked Trinity, Sith Daddy Fresh, and Deadpool 1 Merc. And thanks to our Raid Boss patrons, that's Jealous, Frostbite, TL Tim, Amazing Taco King, and Nico AK Jersey for giving back to the show. Remember, we're Guardian Downcast, your stories, your community, your destiny. Hey, and be good to your fellow Guardians in the Destinyverse.
Guardians are measured by their ability to come back from defeat. So stand. Fight!
Thank you all so much for listening. And later, Guardian. That was, yeah, I know that was out there. Hazel usually would just go, dude, get over yourself. Come on, man. Seriously? Where do you get these ideas, you know? But I just trying to think about how Destiny has to be I keep saying Destiny. Bungie has to keep thinking ahead because they had such a vision in 2014. It blew me away. That's why we're still playing this game today, man.
It's not gonna happen, man.